We starting to stream right away?
Live.
We're not gonna read and tease them?
We already live, homie. We already cooking. We already.
You don't even mute me. I'm muting myself. Goodbye.
Thank you. I'm busy, sir. Peace and love, IG, Facebook, YouTube. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What up, Jen? Come on in, invite a friend. Matter of fact, invite about 10, because you got a few more moments until we actually go on in. Alright, let's see. That one's cooking. Those are good. Did this one start? You was supposed to. And now you look good. Alright. Peace and love, kings, queens, and gods. Come on in, invite a friend. Matter of fact, invite about 10, because it's Floating Yogi's book club, and we about to go a little bit further in. We've already been talking a little bit on the last week about meditation, the week before that about the prana values, the different areas where energy flows through the body. We were talking about breath work, ways to send those energies to different areas. We were talking about the way that thoughts connect to these different channels and areas. We was getting pretty deep. So, like I said, we about to go in, y'all. So, some of the people who help me be me, help me do what I do. We got my dude, Brent. He's part of the crew, too. If you go on and check this here, if you go on and check that pinned comment at the top, you'll be able to sign up for the website, and on that website we have all access to all the services we have available. They are free 99. You do, however, have to pay attention. And speaking of the people who help me be me and do what I do, we got my dude Payoker. He's part of the crew too. I'm trying to tell you, DJ Tony is from a dimension where people are our greatest resource, and I guarantee it. Hit him up and see how he can be one for you. Maybe it's on the maybe it's on the IG stories on UE, where you can be a part of the daily accountability group. Maybe it's vibing in here or a moment just to chat, but tap in with them and see how we can grow together. Also, on that platform that is pinned to the top, that you can get a free membership, a free website. You can be a part of the actual conversation, so you're not like 30 minutes behind, like a year behind, a year and a half behind, trying to figure out, respond to something that just smacked and hit home 30 seconds late, but because of the internet delay, it's like 40 minutes anyway. Anyway, you get where I'm going with this. So, with that being said, if you have the book, How Yoga Works, I encourage you to whip it out. If not, grab some tea, get some water, pull up a chair, pop in some headphones, and let's vibe. Let's get to it. Like I said, last week we were reading Breathe and Smile, Off Breath and Heart, learning how to sit. We gotta know how to sit before we can really get into it. Uh-oh. This one is free kindness. And I'm gonna start with this. This girl is still locked up. And it's the first week of June. It's like 3 months, almost 4 months in jail.
But wasn't Gandhi locked up too? Wasn't Nelson Mandela locked up? Wasn't Dr. King locked up?
I'm just saying, you speaking some facts right now. You is.
Oh, you know what? Honestly, I've been locked up before. I mean, no, that ain't done no real time, but I've had an incident here or there, and it's been more than, I started meditating 3 years ago, but even before that, and then I haven't gotten arrested in the last 3, but before that, the time was really cathartic. in meditation with your damn self and your thoughts. So yeah, she in prison, but you saying it like she's being tortured. And yeah, she was being starved before. And yeah, she was. Well, she was.
The more you talk, the worse the case gets. The more you talk.
Something happened with her arm.
Yeah, her arm is like borderline affected, and they're not doing anything about it. They're not really giving her water, nor are they giving her food. They did just get her into a house where hopefully where she's staying within said house doesn't have, rats and rodents and roaches, and at least she's able to take a bath. So her conditions have changed. You're absolutely correct. They went from pathetic to, not too hateful.
Hopefully humane.
Hopefully.
We'll see.
Fingers crossed. We'll see. We got a lot of book left. And I like the title of this chapter. Free kindness. What? Who doesn't want to throw some love? Well, there's a lot of people who don't want to throw love out there like that. But, everybody got time for that. Alright, first we could jump. If meeting Basuku's boys on the path every day was a pleasure to look forward to, coming home to the old woman's house was the opposite. That's what we started with.
We started off.
We starting off with it, yo. We starting off with it. I was like, I hear you. Anyway, it's not that the work was difficult. I was used to hard work, and I tried to earn my keep for my mistress at the point of honor. But so often when I arrived back at the little shed in the loom, I'd find the sergeant there too, just off duty, most often already drunk, just sitting around making drunken small talk with the woman. And too often I found his eyes on me, and it scared me. It is kindness, said the captain, first thing. It is indeed kindness, I agreed, without much surprise. And Master says, use kindness. It makes the mind bright and clear, as pure as water. I support these thoughts. Hate is full of toxic. It's going to be a lot to sift through to get the results you want, based on how you feel or want to or think about responding. By the way, Sutra 1, I-33A. But how to use it when I am just sitting here silently, he asked. It's simply one of the most sacred and powerful instructions from all ancient times, I said. It ties together the breath, the closest sister to the inner winds, and quite nearly the most potent, though, of all, kindness, sending them combined into a direct attack upon every essence of the choke points inside us that make us sick and unhappy. Quite nearly the most potent thought? Asked the captain. I heard what he was saying. Why not start with the most potent thought? It's coming, I said, like Katrine would say to me, like first things first. Then I took him through some of his poses, almost like putting oil on the axle of a cart before you climb aboard to start the trip. After he had rested and warmed his body down, I'd get him into position for silent sitting. He did quite well, even down to trying to push his bottom through the floor to get absolutely straight. I was really proud of him, my first real student, because he did the one thing that every successful student of any has to do. He took what I had taught him home and practiced it there on his own. Modesty, but very steadily, to do the best of his personal capacity. I could not have asked for more. I support those thoughts. That's a great feeling. It's like, dang, that they see and feel and experience that my advice worked. And it's not even just the advice, to take it just deeper as well. It's like we can both connect on the same downfall in going through the process. You have someone to kind of go through the process with, and you have someone to talk about the triumph and the achievement on the other side. Like, what that builds inside of a person and on a daily basis is so powerful. It's so much more than just, oh, I worked out today. But I'm gonna keep going. Because you know, it's a book and whatnot. All right. When he was very still and his breath was nice and quiet, I said, look inside of your chest now, where your heart is. Inside your heart is a tiny red flame, like the flame at the top of a candle. This flame is the power of our selfishness, the habit we have of taking care of ourselves first and neglecting what others need or want. I waited a moment until he had it clear. Now pretend that you're sitting right in front of the sergeant at his home, but he can't see you. You're invisible. I paused again. Look into the sergeant's heart. Right there, right in the middle, is a dark, rotten little pool of blackness. It is his sadness. It is his pain, and it is the reason why he drinks. And it is his drinking. Another pause. You want to take his pain away from him forever. It's the compassion we spoke about before. It is the real reason why you are doing yoga, and you decide that you want to take his back pain away so badly that you would even take it into yourself. If it meant you could save him from it. Pause. A longer pause. Compassion, even pretend compassion, is so hard for us. And so you begin to take, say, 7 long, slow breaths. The first time you breathe in, that little evil pool of darkness in the center of the sergeant's heart stirs and moves and starts to rise up out of his body, like an ugly cloud of blackness. And as you take more breaths, it sucks up out of his chest, his throat, and then you see it in his nostrils. And knowing you would take it onto yourself to save him from it, you would take all his drunken misery and that little cloud of darkness, and you keep breathing it in and then again, drawing it towards your own face. And then you hold it there, just outside of your nostrils. I waited and watched to see that it was time. And now something will happen. It will happen a little quickly, and you have to concentrate well upon this part. In one breath, you will suck in the blackness through your own nose, and you will take it upon yourself. The blackness will come down your throat and into your chest, and then slowly, very slowly, it will approach the little red flame of your selfishness. The part of you that would never even imagine taking away someone else's pain, even if it meant having it yourself instead. And the blackness floats slowly towards the edge of the flame, and then suddenly the black makes contact with the red. And there's a burst of beautiful golden light, like a bolt of lightning shining in the purest gold. And in that moment, because you were willing, in that moment, to swallow all of the sergeant's pain into yourself, the crimson fire of your own selfishness is extinguished forever. It's gone. And in this explosion, too, the blackness of the sergeant's pain is destroyed. Destroyed for him, destroyed for you, destroyed forever. For this is the power of the grace of selfless compassion for others. And you must know this power and believe in this power. It is very important that you see and that you know that the blackness has been destroyed in that moment, forever. Before you even take your next breath, and then you are only sitting here with me, silently. And inside of you is that golden light, filled everywhere with that golden light. Now breathe the darkness in and see what happens. He did. And we sat there in the golden silence for the longest time. Time enough for one tear that came slowly down his cheek to dry. When we came out of it, the captain smiled at me happily and gracefully. Then, in the moment, his eyes wandered off towards the work, waiting on his desk. Students can be so transparent at times. That's only the first half, I said firmly. We'll call it taking. Taking away someone else's pain, their problems. But now we need to do the second half, which we call giving. Giving and taking. We need to do both. He nodded. He got himself in position and resolutely pushed his bottom into the floor. I resisted a giggle. Being a teacher was a little too serious sometimes. That first part was compassion, taking away someone else's pain. So that's cool. I will say this. I like the concept of it burning away. Be very, just be, rather scarce. Not scarce. That's not a good word. Selective to with which pain and whose pain you are taking onto yourself and what you are taking onto yourself, even if it gets burned away. Fair enough. I feel like you're about to call me ratchet.
Nah, it's just hard to give advice about this because I think it depends on who you're surrounded by. Because I think, generally speaking, most people believe in pay yourself first. And I think everybody believes you should take care of yourself. And I don't know anybody who believes you shouldn't have any boundaries. But then you get people like me who believe and work a little different than most. Which isn't that you don't have to pay yourself first as long as you're taken care of. If I know I got money, why do I need to pay myself first? If I have an abundance of love, joy, happiness, peace, I can afford a bad day for my friends. But, like your advice says, I forgot what word you used, but my word is just discernment.
I support those thoughts. That's it. If you're around good people, it's probably little things that the residue is so minuscule that it doesn't. You will sweat it out in your whatever your sun sows in the morning. Whatever. But some things can leave a mark on the mind. That's all. What up, Char? Alright, so we got taking. We gotta be able to take and we gotta be able to give. Alright. The first part was compassion, taking away someone's pain. I repeated, excuse me, he said, really could I ever take away the side? Okay, excuse me, he said then, but is it really, could I ever really take away the sergeant's pain like that? You could, you will, but not the way you think. It's important to understand how you will do it, but that comes later, I promise. For now, we have to go on to giving, to kindness, and you should know that this is his short book. The master introduces both kindness and compassion together, along with the powerful inner means of freeing the winds. If compassion wants to take away pain, then kindness wants to fill the void which is left when pain is gone. Kindness wants to give a person whatever they wish for. And so now close your eyes again and imagine again that you are at the sergeant's house and you want to fill him with happiness. Now that his sadness is gone, you could be any kind of happiness, anything you know he might really like. But I have an idea for happiness you can give him which would be special. Because again, it would attack our selfishness, which is quite nearly the most powerful negative thought, choking the channels within your bad back. That quite nearly again mused the captain. Later, soon, I say it again. So let's pretend this time that when you breathe out, you are sending a person to his door. Your breath is a person. You're sending a person to his door. Okay. So let's pretend that this time, that when you breathe out, you are sending a person to his door. your breath is a person. And every time you let your breath go again, he steps closer to the front door of the sergeant's house. And this person is, I couldn't recall. Who did you say your boss was again? I asked. Oh, him. Well, that would be the superintendent off in the Capitol. Tough as nails, especially if I'm late with one of my reports. Breathed the captain, glancing at his desk again. Soon, I said. So yes, your breath, as it flows out of this, is the superintendent. And then he is at the sergeant's door, and he knocks. And the sergeant opens the door. He's all bright and chipper and freshly washed and dressed, neat as pin now, since you took away his drinking. And the morning sun beams upon his face, and upon his smiling face, as the superintendent greets him, good day. With a warm hand pushed a letter into his own hands, and the sergeant opens it. It nearly falls down with joy and surprise, because what? Snapped the captain, sensing already that what was in the letter. Because it was official correspondence from the ministry, proclaiming him the new captain in charge of this very facility, I said chilly. The captain's face fell. Then what? Then what am I supposed to do? He blustered. That's not the point, I cried. Or maybe that's exactly the point. Don't you see? You're giving him the one thing that would make him most happy. Even if, or especially if, it's the one thing that makes you most happy. The one thing you'd really rather keep for yourself. The captain looked a little confused. I don't get it, he said. What's this got to do with fixing my back? It has everything to do with fixing your back. I stopped myself just short of calling him a dolt that Katrine might have used, if rarely. Think about it, Captain. Your selfishness never got you anywhere. Taking care of yourself doesn't even take care of you at all. It ties up your channel, stops your winds, makes you hurt, makes you unhappy, makes you get older and older, even makes you die. Like that, sitting on your selfishness, defending that most valuable, worthless thing there is. I'm telling you a secret. I'm giving you the key. You fix it all from the inside, quick, just like that. But you have to give it up. Give it up and give everything. The captain raised his brows and his eyes opened wide. All right, calm down, young lady. I'm afraid you'll bust the channel. He was right. I did my 10 quiet breaths and calmed down. And then we went through the sergeant's promotion together, sitting silently. And then, just for good measure, we went to the corporal's house and took the black cloud of his lack of drive and energy out of his heart. By then, he was so sharp and motivated that the superintendent, returning from the sergeant, ran into him and was immediately impressed, and took him off to the Capitol as his own protege, as the next superintendent, in fact. It was great. It was great fun, free and easy medicine for the inner winds. Right? A little psychological things helping. Yo, hey, what up, Mac? Yeah, come on through, yo. You gotta come on through. Saturday, tomorrow, literally every single day. We do got the workshop, Joe, is where I recommend. The workshop at Sun and Moon Yoga on the 17th, 2 to 4. We're gonna talk about the practice, get everybody all situated, plug. So come on through. And that's the end of that chapter. What time we at? We misunderstand our world. We might be able to get through these last ones. Yeah, welcome! We might.
Also got Bloomy5 on UE.DC.
Woo! Welcome. Come on in, invite a friend. Matter of fact, invite about 10. Because we going in. We going to get one more chapter in. Chapter 16. We misunderstand our world. Second week of June. She has been Do-do-do-do-do. Okay. Boom, boom. February, March, April, May, June. She has been there for 3 months and 3 weeks. Okay, I was almost there. Still, that's like almost 120 days locked up with no proof. I'd be very salty. She's taking this fantastically. All of the black cloud inside her, majority of it, has been burned away. Or, acceptance is fire in her life. Anyway, moving forward. We misunderstand our world. Please tell me how. Let's correct that. Second week of June. I told you already about the law of yoga and of life. That when important good things are starting to happen, then powerful bad things are stirred up too. And they come up and try to stop the good things. Maybe it has something to do with the channels beginning to open up. I don't know. Maybe the bad channels fight back, fighting for their very existence. And so, on the same night that the captain and I first attacked our selfishness together, down inside the channels, the sergeant came to the door of the shed as I slept. Long life growled and I woke up instantly. It was quite late and windy night as the summer rains approached. The moon, though, was nearly full, and I could make out the sergeant's form in a second. His smell, the smell of liquor, seemed to fill the room in the very first moment. And Long Life was all ready to leap, but I caught him by the end of his little rope, as I always tied around his neck for the old lady's sake. Don't be afraid, the sergeant laughed slowly. Nothing to worry about. Just thought we could talk. And his outline weaved unsteadily in the doorway, and he stepped inside. He had a clay jug in one hand, and in the other hand reached out in the dark, groping. It was too late to try to reason with him. Long Life and I had been through a lot together. We had a special sign for emergencies. I would yell a word in our language, BAM! And then we would both be up and gone. Long Life! BAM! I cried, and jumped from the bed. The sergeant lunged clumsily, and I turned sideways, knocked the loom over on him, and ran to the door. Long Life flashed under the sergeant's legs, dragged the rope behind him, and then we were in the moonlit, headed towards the open country. We just ran, and I thought there was no way we could head back in the direction of the jail and the main road. Too many people there, and Don wasn't that far away. But working over in the fields the other way was just as bad. I knew the experience and that the tracks would be easy to follow come morning. And then I remembered something my grandmother used to say about the best place to hide something being right out in the open. And so I stopped at the bridge close to the woman's house, and we both crawled under. We would stay here 2, even 3 days, right in the middle of where the search would begin. And when they were all far away, following the trails, we'd choose the quietest way to Vernazzi. I had to leave the book and the notes. I knew Katrine would have agreed. I would write out as much as I could remember later when we reached the teacher. And so we waited, tense at first, and then dozing off at times. I decided after a while that the sergeant had probably just gone back home, finished off the jug, and fallen asleep. I curled up tight, pressing my little lion's warmth to my chest as far back under the bridge as we could squeeze. Something woke me up, a premonition. I looked out to the side to where the shadow of the bridge ended and the moonlit began. There was a tiny sliver of silver there in the light, white, curled like a snake. I stared at it for a moment before I realized what it was, the other end of Long Life's rope. I started up to pull it, and then a hand came down off the bridge, lightning fast. The rope snapped tight, and Long Life's little body was ripped from my arms, up to the bridge. I scrambled out into the night. I can hear Long Life choking and gasping for air, hanging in the air. I will kill him, the sergeant says. I know it. You will come with me now, back to the jail. Promise it. I promise. Let him go. And he drops Long Life into the mud there, convulsing, shuddering, flailing in the mud. And I get down into it, shaking and trying to tear the rope loose from his neck. And he looks up at me with helpless eyes, and I take him in my arms like a child. And we follow off behind in the dark. We follow off behind the dark sergeant back to our jail. Sheesh. Moving forward, that was the night. The sergeant was up early in the morning, went out for an hour, and returned with the old woman. When the captain came, and the sergeant went straight in his office with the woman, and then after a while, they came back out. The woman left with so much as a glance in my direction, and the captain had the sergeant bring me in and ask him to leave and shut the door. I told you very clearly, never try to escape. But I didn't, sir. I just ran away but not to escape. Not like that, Captain. It was the sergeant. He was drunk and he came into my room while I was asleep. Enough! He exclaimed. That's not the way I heard it. I have 2 witnesses who say you tried to escape. Witnesses? The old woman saw you run. She went and found the sergeant who did good work catching you before others did. You should be grateful to him. That's not what happened, I said calmly. A special kind of stillness coming on me, as it did sometimes. They're lying to you. The captain fixed his eyes on me sternly, but the truth was in my own. He looked down. We shall see. But for now, I cannot ignore a word of an officer of the realm over and the senior resident of this town. He looked up at the ceiling with a kind of sadness in his eyes, kept them there for a silent moment, and then brought them back down to my face. And so, he faltered. And so, it is my duty to inform you that you are now found guilty of breaking the laws of the king in regard to escaping from custody, and will now be held in this facility as a convicted prisoner for an indefinite length of time. Explanations, objections, expressions of outrage flew through my mind as this idiotic decision in this idiotic little town with this idiot inept officer. And then the stillness came back and silenced them. This was not what it seemed to be. It had a reason. It had a cause. And now was the time to practice yoga. Real yoga. The way my teacher had trained me to do. I see, I said steadily. Prisoner, here, for an indefinite period of time. Perhaps a very long time. I understand. The captain cocked his head. You don't seem to be very concerned. Concerned? Yes, I replied. Upset? No. And why not? Because it won't change what's happening. But something else will. And so there is something else I have to do to change this. Change what? I looked around quietly with the word, and the words came to me out of the quiet. I will have to change this, I said with an unshakable feeling of confidence, waving my arms around me. The captain looked around, despite himself. Change this, he repeated. This, the jail. I will change the jail, I said. How? He said, most entranced. How change the jail? I will. The words poured through me, unbeckoned. I will make inside the jail outside the jail, I said softly. The captain leaned back with an unsure smile. You mean you will do your best to take all of this in a positive light? You will try to imagine perhaps that you are somewhere else, even if you're just sitting in your cell. I fixed a cold look on him, laced with steel like Katrina's. That's not what I said at all, Captain. I said that I will make the inside of the jail the outside of the jail. Am I not clear? Do you not understand my words? I do understand what you say, but not what it means. And until you understand, I said harshly, you will never understand yoga. And you will never understand how it really works. And you will carry your bad back and all the disappointments of your life with you to the grave. Cold-blooded. What up? We reading How Yoga Works. Come on in, invite a friend. Actually invite about 10. Yeah, that was saucy. That was saucy right there. He looked at me with a sadness that said he felt how it was true. And I couldn't just leave him there like that. He was my student, no matter what. We shared a sacred bond already. And he was a human, another living being in pain. And that bond we had shared for a time with no beginning. It will come, I said. I will teach you. Goodness knows we will probably have enough time now. I paused and collected myself. We were about to enter the borders of real yoga. And we had to go carefully. You need to hear something now, and then I will leave, and you need to think about it for a while. He nodded. As though this kind of conversation under these circumstances was something that happened to him every day. The master says in his short book, I glanced towards those lovely pages at his elbow, that we misunderstand our world. Things are not themselves, seem to us as if they were. Things that are not themselves seem to us as if they were. You make less and less sense, he said, with a touch of impatience. Perhaps you really are upset. Perhaps you really need to rest, to think. Let me call silence, I said. Goodness itself was being born, and wrongness sought to stop it. The jail itself. The captain looked wounded, and then he thought for a moment. Of course it is, he replied. Everything is itself. Meaning, I demand, meaning that in the jail's case, I suppose that the jail is itself and not something else. It was a place where you are put when you have done something wrong, and once you're inside the jail, you no longer have any freedom. No freedom to go outside the jail. And so, for example, I returned, the person inside the jail could never be experiencing perfect freedom there. And the people outside the jail could never be experiencing the torment of absolute bondage there. The inside could never become the outside. The outside could never become the inside. Because the inside is itself. I breathed, leaned over to his desk, looked in his eyes, and the outside is itself, leaning into his very being, or so it seems. I finished quietly, and then I stood and looked down at him. You may call me Sergeant now, I said. Ooh. She got up out of there. I think she did very well. I think she did very well. And I love how the book actually starts talking about what the real yoga is. Because it's great when we start working with the physical structure, but like how she was saying, it's kind of just oiling the joints. Once we can, a lot of the work can be done by ourselves. I encourage people to hit up a therapist. Those are always interesting to talk to. Have an objective response or playback of what's going on, a little diary, a little Alicia Keys situation. Yeah, that's helpful. That's super helpful. A journal is another helpful one. Another person's a very helpful one. I mentioned before, we're going to go into some of these concepts on the 17th at Sun and Moon Yoga for this book that they're talking about. Saturday, 2 to 4. It's gonna be great. Bring a pen, bring something to write on, because we're gonna get some philosophy. We're gonna learn about like the Tristana method, breath, posture, and gaze. We're gonna learn about the bond visible. We're gonna talk about the 8 limbs of yoga, ways to clear up karma, clear up energy within us, around us. It's gonna be smooth. It's gonna be smooth. I can't get too much. But check it out. It's on the website, sunandmoonyoga.com. Boom! Welcome. Oh, we did great on time, yo.
Yep, we did 2 chapters and still got 10.
I like it.
Although, I don't think we had any... Actually, I think we only stopped about twice tonight, though. I think we went straight through pretty much.
Yeah, one of the chapters was a little spicy. It was like, damn, just let me know what happens next. Did she get away? Did they catch her? Did she get killed? No. They got her.
They got the dog.
And it would be on the night when you was like, nah, it's not that bad. I know someone didn't read ahead. I'm with it. Oh man. Anyway. Questions, comments, want to work on something, want to tap in and learn a little bit more, I encourage you to check out the website, uedc.com. Got something directly for me. Hit up the floatyogi.com, send me an email. Same if you want to book us, any of the services, uedc.com. Thanks again to Lifeform. I appreciate their fire mats with their dope designs. Check them out. And same with Payover, same with Brent, same with Sun and Moon Yoga, where you can check me in the morning for my source, 6:30 to 9. Just come. It don't matter. You just need 45 minutes to get the ball rolling. 30 minutes for real, but let's say 45. And if 6 to 9 don't work for you because you slept in a little bit, then we got 10 to 12 at Flow, another one of the partners who help me be me and do what I do. So tap in with, find a place that we can grow, and let's make it happen, y'all. Peace and love, kings, queens, and gods. Let's get up off of this social